Morning. This is the first session of my 2014 Mikata Goko spring campaign. Mikata Goko is the 5 lakes of Mikata. It's based in Fukui, Ken, in on the north shore, about around the middle of the main island in Japan. I've been up here for about 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. This has certainly been my 3rd spring campaign on here. I try and introduce the lakes as we go through this campaign. I really want to just tell you about what I'm going to do when I'm doing it. For the last 3 years, this campaign has started on the long weekend in the spring. Well, it's basically the spring bank holiday around the 21st of March, and it goes all the way through till basically carp start spawning early May. I basically plan to come every weekend and probably once midweek between now and 25th of April, something like that, to do pre-baiting. So basically plan to pre-bait heavily on a Friday night, a Sunday night and then a Wednesday, and keep that going until I start my 2-week session on the 25th of April. Basically the first year I came here we fished Mikata Goko. Ended up in an unfavourable peg. Wasn't somewhere that it was inside a big netted off area. Basically that was the only peg available. Caught a couple, didn't catch any really big ones, and basically was in a little tiny high car. Weather was nasty and I didn't really enjoy it that much. The second year, which was 2 years ago, ended up in a good peg called Matabe. I pre-baited a separate peg. Unfortunately someone put some old rods in it to basically reserve it for about 3 weeks before the Golden Week holiday. So I ended up abandoning the baiting campaign, moving pegs and pre-baiting somewhere else, and at which point I managed to get lucky because a friend of mine was fishing that peg and he let me drop in behind him. And I got a good catch, 30 odd fish. Caught my first meter over out of Mikata. Last year I pre-baited one of the other lakes. So there's Mikata Lake, Sugetsu Lake and the Suga Lake. I pre-baited Sugetsu. Sugetsu's got a reputation for fewer but bigger fish. It's also much less popular. So last year I did a baiting campaign on there. A huge amount of baiting, probably 200 kilos of particle, maybe 50 kilos of boilies, and a fantastic catch. I had 29 fish. Got the first 40 pounder, there's 2 40 pounds in there, 5 over a metre, great big goldfish, a really good catch. I had one jump out the retainer sack, which was a big fish as well. So the news has got out of that and it was quite popular that year. I did go on to catch another 40 pounder that year as well as some more 30s. And I'm anticipating that's going to be very popular this year. Basically my campaign starts today. I've been fishing on Mikata now since Friday. It's now Sunday morning. I've been fishing since Friday night. Mikata's much shallower than Sugetsu, so I think I'll catch here. Got a better chance of a bite here until April. But, basically this afternoon my friend Chris is coming down. We're going to go and look round Sugetsu, look for a new spot. I think Chris is probably going to try and fish the same peg as we did last year. We fished it together last year but he didn't catch so many, so he's going back for some revenge. I think I'm going to fish a different peg. I'm leaving him to have that peg, but I'm also not sure we'll be able to get in it. I think there's a good chance that somebody else will be in it before us, one of the really long stay boys. So to give you a bit of an intro to where we're fishing today, I'll have to show you this on a map one day. So we're on Mikata Ko. This is the shallowest one of the 3 freshwater. I say freshwater. 2 of them are certainly brackish. So the shallowest one of the 3 fishable lakes of the 5 lakes of the complex. It's probably 750 acres. And today I'm fishing a peg called JA Mai. So JA over there is the Japan Agriculture Union, Farmers Union, and that's their factory to collect the local dried plums. And So hence this place is called J-A-M-I. Straight ahead there, if you can see in the gap, let me put my finger towards it, that is the channel that runs into Suigetsu Lake. If you come round here, there's a point there. Around the back of that point is a bay equally as big as this, which is where Matabe is, and where Bakiyaski, I don't know how you call that in English, ghost house is. That's just over, the ghost house is literally just over the back of that point there. You can see where it dips down. It's just about there. Come round to the right. Basically somewhere, I'm going to guess it's that dip about maybe there. There's a small canal that goes through to Sugako. I'll show you this on another day, but Sugako and Sugetsuko are joined. So right over the back of this mountain over here, there is a big channel, much bigger than this one. A big channel, probably 50, 60 metres, no, 100 metres across, which joins those two lakes. So these three lakes are joined. Up to the right hand side there, you can basically see that point there, the second or third one, depending on which one it is, but in the middle ground, that's the start of Narade Bay. So Narade Bay is about maybe twice the size of this one, and that goes round into the back there and comes round again to that point, and it goes round again to where the river comes in. So the Hasugawa River comes in. I've had some good catches out of there a couple of years ago. You can see the construction right in the long distance, the bridge going across there, and that gets you into Doganjima, which is like Bird Island. Then you can fish all along that bank there. We've had some bites here. We've had some bites about there in this holiday 2 years ago. That's why I'm confident we'll get a bite in Mikata. It's not unprecedented to catch it at the end of February or early March. So that's why I'm giving it a go today, even though it's certainly the first person to fish this year, and there's still snow on that mountain over there. So to talk a bit more about the lakes, I think you can see the big boat, the tourist boat coming in there from Sugetsuko. Say a bit more about the lakes. Like I said, Mikata's shallow. Be surprised if it gets to 2 metres. If there's a 3 metre spot, I haven't found it yet. It's very silty and it gets very weedy in the summer. Basically, it's unfishable in the summer. There's just a blanket of weed that they call hishimo. Grows very fast, 30 centimetres a day when the sun's out like this. And I'd be surprised if I haven't got some wrapped around one of my rods when I bring it in today. Basically, you cannot fish this lake in the summer. It's blanket. It's like a carpet. You could probably walk on it. That weed floats, and basically it floats off and dies and goes into Sugetsuko and sinks down in there in the autumn. But basically, from middle of May to October, this is very difficult to fish. Where there's no hishimo, there's other weed coming up from the bottom, which is really thick. It's silty, really silty. Chris went in from waders a couple of years ago, and he was up to his waist, and he pushed the pole in, and it was 2 or 3 feet of silt. It's quite firm, but I think all the accumulation of that weed it has sunk in here, and it's buried in here. It's silty. On my rods today, in the daytime I've got 2 chods out, 2 snowmen. At night time I've got 3, just 1 chod with a really smelly bait. But I mean, the silt doesn't smell bad. It's just like it's not, the stuff on top hasn't really broken down yet. There's some weed does sink in here, and it hasn't broken down yet. It's all little bitty black weed, and I'm worried about basically clogging up the hooks more than not finding the bait. Talk a little about Sugetsu Lake, right through the distance there. That's really deep. I put a marker up there, and it's been 30 metres, and the water's funny. So let's sit down here. Get some of my rods. So I think they call it eutropic. I'm not quite sure if that's the correct pronunciation. But basically, after about I'm going to say 5 metres, might be being generous. the water's no oxygen in it, and I think this is a combination of the volcanic nature of Japan. There's a lot of sulfur, it sounds like sulfur, basically volcanic gas coming up from the ground underneath. I think it's a combination of all the weed flowing out of Mikata and sinking. And it could just be the geography and the way the water mixes. But basically, below about 5 meters, there's no oxygen in the water. If you put a bait in there into the silt at 5 meters, it comes back stinking and black. Really, really disgusting. So it's a huge lake, well over 1,000 meters, 1,000 acres, sorry. But you're basically limited to if you're lucky, 15 meters. But generally 10 meters from the bank all the way around. As a general rule, my rule is, it's obviously done a lot of work and construction. You can see this concrete wall that runs all the way around these lakes, and for the first 10 meters is gravel. You can feel it, really quite big stones. My general rule is, if you can get onto the gravel, the bottom is generally okay. You don't come back stinking because you're still in shallow water. Some pegs, the boathouse where we had a good catch last year, there's a bit of a bay. You might be able to get to 20 meters there because the inside's very shallow. That's certainly you go into the abyss there, and it stinks again. So in terms of mass pre-baiting, it's quite good because you can underarm a lot of stuff, or just use a massive spot and just swing it out. It does mean that you can't put loads of rods in one spot, so you have to space them out. It does really limit when you're going to be able to catch as well, because those fish aren't going to come into that water in the daytime when it's bright. It is clear as well, that lake. The great thing about that lake is because it's brackish, so there's a lot of salt water mixing in from the mountains, from the sea, which is basically borders Sugetsuko and Sugako. So over the other side of the mountains there, you're in the sea basically. So there's lots and lots of food. There's crabs everywhere. There's shrimps and just basically sea kind of fish like oysters and stuff. So the fish get very, very big. They love these little sashimi. It's a little tiny, what do you call it? It's like a little oyster, tiny one, about a centimetre or centimetre and a half long, which grow on the weed. And you often catch one, and it'll poo out loads and loads of those. So loads of natural food. Some of the fish aren't massive. There is the Japanese record did come from there one time, and no doubt it will come from there again. It's only a matter of time before someone catches it. I think it'd be well over 30 kilos. I think it'd be well over 120 centimetres. It'd be basically man size. It's going to be a big carp. Hopefully it'll be me. Sugako is exactly the same as Sugetsu. Smaller. It's probably small. It's certainly smaller than Mikata. Probably 400 acres maybe. But the same topology. It's 30 meters deep in the wrong spot. The bottom stinks if you go too far out, and you've got to try and fish close in. It's certainly not as prolific as Sugetsuko. There's certainly less fish and smaller fish. There's a rumour that maybe one day I'll throw a massive carp up. I gave it a campaign last year and didn't catch one. And I think, to be honest, I think I'll give it a miss in terms of putting my time into Sugetsu, where I might catch a giant one. So I've got 4 out today. 2 chods. One's a pineapple, smelly pineapple from, I think it's about 15mm. The other one's a B5 fluoro orange. So we've got 2 different colours. Keep casting those regularly. The 2 are on sticky baits, krill, snowman. One's got a snowman. I think one's got a sing actually on a stiff hook link. I'm going to put a few boilies out with a throwing stick. The birds have eaten them. So wherever you are in the world, a tuft is a tufty. They dive down and eat the boilies. I guess these are only 2 3/4 pound rods. It's okay for Mikata. The fish aren't that big, but you certainly know if you get a big one. If you hook with those metre over 35 pound fish, instantly know you've got one. It's just a different fish, and these rods aren't up to it. We'll certainly cope with it. It'll be have a bit of a merry dance, but you're certainly better off on 3.5 pounds. You've got a bit of backbone behind the rod. These are nice soft playing rods these, so up to £30 they're very good, very nice. Above that, not so good. About £15 mainline on. So when I go on the big lake, I'll have these out, but I'll also have the 3.5s out, which will give a bit more stick to any fish I might catch. In that other lake, do use snag leaders. Just in case you get around one of those sticks, because those sticks are covered in like those sashimi shells, and you will get cut off. It wouldn't matter whether you're sat on your rods or a mile away from your rods, and the fish basically you straight into it. It's almost like you probably cast right on top of it. And the fish don't run down the bank; they run out. So I guess I'm justifying why it's okay to be so far away from your rods. But we do use snag leaders just because those shells, if you do get one of those sticks, you will get cut off very quickly. So I'm typically using 10 metres amnesia. And generally, you can see the leader knot about 2 metres below the tip of your rod when you're fishing out. So that's how close you're fishing. Generally, you can see that leader knot. Use one of those all-bright knots to help it go through the rings. Make sure it's at the back of the spool when casting out. I haven't seen a fish jump here today. Maybe I'm not on them. But to be honest, this time of year I would be surprised if I saw a fish jump anywhere. In 750 acres, it could be anywhere. Certainly in the summer, or getting towards the late spring, you will see them jumping out in this lake. I've never found putting a bait on top of them helps, if you could reach them, because they're normally out in the middle. I guess it gives you a bit of confidence that they're in your peg. I've only ever seen 2 or 3 fish jump in Sugetoko. One rolled right over my rods before I caught a giant at 104 centimetres, 37. About half an hour later, so maybe it's different in there, but you generally don't see them roll or jump. In terms of this year's campaign, like I said earlier, I'm going to come down, put heavily bait on Friday, Sunday and Wednesday. I probably won't fish that peg until I get on it in the campaign, so I think I'm going to go this afternoon. I'll go searching. Probably next week I'll go and fish the peg to make sure there's no big snags or that I don't know about, or make sure that the bottom's okay. Even with the gravel, in some areas where the dirty water's coming up from the ground, from the volcanic like onsen water, the hot spring water's coming up. Even on the gravel, your bait can come back smelling. So I had that problem in summer holiday last year. I put 200 kilos, 50 kilos of boys into a peg, and I was fishing on gravel, and sometimes it came back stinking. So there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. You can't tell the difference with gravel where it's smelly or not. You just need to know not to cast back to that spot. So probably next week I'll be back. Probably come Saturday morning, fish through till Sunday, maybe fish a couple of pegs. Just understand what the bottom's like, understand if it's worth pre-baiting there. And then I'll start pre-baiting the first weekend of April, 3 times, and every weekend thereafter, and 3 times midweek. I'm going to put 2 different types of boilies in. So I've got 20 odd kilos of B5s for my essential baits. I've also got 20 kilos of dumbbells from 22mm, 18mm dumbbells from Solar. A friend of mine sells tackle for them in Japan, and he's managed to get me some, basically give me a discount on them. Got just a few, and after that I've got a few, half bags and end bags. I've got a load of sticky baits krill left over, which to be honest is crap. I caught 2 fish on it. Yeah, two fish, or twice rather. It's done absolutely nothing for me. I bought 20 kilos of that. I'll throw that in as well. It's all glugged up and it's all stinking, but I haven't caught many fish really. So I'll put that in as well. Tiger nuts is the big one. I caught tiger nuts on these lakes. You either catch giant fish or you catch very small fish. I caught, of the 5 metres I caught last year, I think I caught 3 of them. 3 of them on 3 of the really big fish on tiger nuts, double tiger nut, just like a dynamite baits bag mix, a few tiger nuts in a bag. So I've got about 10 kilos of those to feed. Won't put loads in, just just a couple of big handfuls in every time I pre-bait. We do get the big fish. You also get the small fish, which is a bit of a problem. You get lots of fish, you know, kind of 50 centimetre, 10 pounders. You get quite excited when you get a bite of tiger nut because you don't know what it's going to be. The boilies, you can do anything as well, but you know, you've got a big 20mm, 15mm snowman and you're not really going to get many small ones. But it does seem that the big ones have got a tasting for tiger nuts. They don't take on the stink of the silt so much either. So I'm probably going to have half my rods on tiger nuts, I think, when I get onto the big session. It's difficult to get hold of them. I tried to get some from CC Moores, but they wanted ridiculous money for the shipping with some boilies, so I bought them in Japan as well. I just hope they're alright. They're not as big as the jumbo tiger nuts you can get in the UK. After that, I think I'll probably, hopefully I'll have some of those Solar Club mix and some B5s left. I'll probably have at least set of 4, for example. I'll have 2 tiger nuts, one Solar, 1 B5 rod. All dropped to the margins. Do plan to use 7 rods in Golden Week, 7 or 8 rods. I keep saying Golden Week, maybe I should explain that. Golden Week is typically in Japan, everyone changes jobs or moves around companies into the 1st of April if you're going to move. Or, you know, in company internal rotations, and then you get used to it, and then they find out it's no better than it was before. And then there's a long bank holiday, which basically manages to take it in beginning of May, which takes everyone's mind off things. So it's about 3 bank holidays. There's 4 bank holidays over 2 weeks. Typically one in the first week on around a Thursday or a Friday, and then the 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week. So you take the right holidays, you can end up with 2 weeks off without a great deal of without losing a great deal of holiday allowance from work. So typically, I think Golden Week will be a busy week. It'll be absolutely rammed on here. Anyway, you can get a rod in, people have rods in. I'm going to take the previous week and probably a day as well. Get on a Thursday, to the second to last Thursday, in the end of April. So they call that week Golden Week in Japan. Say Golden Week in English or in Japanese, which recognised as like one of the big holidays of the year. People tend to go home and see their families. Right, I hope this works for a light. Another big difference of the Japanese carp scene versus maybe the English carp scene. That works, you can see it, yeah. Basically, in Japan being Japan, you can only do certain things in certain places. So camping is absolutely frowned upon. You're probably getting yourself in some trouble with the police if they caught you. So camping by the side of lakes is absolutely a no-no. You can see right here I'm basically fishing next to a farmer's field. I could get a tent out over there, I reckon, but I don't think it'd be very I think I might find myself in some trouble very quickly with a farmer. So vast majority of people in Japan use camping cars. Those who don't do night fishing. This is my camping car. It's a Toyota Hiace. It's a 3 litre diesel. Quite good because there are loads of motorway miles getting here from my house, which is 2 hours away. Inside is customised. So obviously got a standard navigation system and surround sound speakers and that kind of good stuff. You can see the rod holder there, which is good for easy, helps moving around the venues. It's got a bed kit, so you can see the bed kit there. Really comfortable, great for when the wife comes. I guess what you can't see is the sub battery, which is currently on absolutely 0 right now. Ran it down last night using the electric blanket because it was freezing here, -5, -10 maybe, I don't know. So there's a sub battery in there. There's plenty of lights under there. guess what's interesting here is this bed kit lifts up. All my fishing tackles in there, so a few cans for later maybe. Bait, nets and slings and tripods and that's all in there. And then there's loads of storage under here as well, so I've got lunch and cooking stuff. And under here, blankets and pillows and stuff for the night. If I come round, you can see that. Basically, the way to jump out, it's got a kettle and the bait and the rubbish, and got a cradle there and a weight measure board and a chair and a flask and that kind of stuff. So, you know, when I need to use this for family stuff, just roll that seat down. It's like a normal car, really high quality car. Obviously, it rolls up and it's perfect, absolutely perfect for fishing. There's curtains inside, so it keeps the sunlight out, and you can sleep in that quite comfortably. I'm not a massive one for getting up at the crack of dawn, but I think I will be for the next few weeks. You know, really high standard. It's certainly different. It's certainly a different lifestyle to a bivvy kind of lifestyle. Like I said, you could very easily put a bivvy on there. It'd be great. You know, I've done that in the past. A cheeky overnighter. And to be honest, I've got the times I've done it with this being so close to the sea, and you just sometimes a storm comes off the sea and you get blown away. It ain't very pleasant. The car is the way to do this. You don't get any trouble with the farmers either. This is the 29th of March, last weekend of March. And I'm fishing for the first time what I hope is going to be my peg for the Golden Week in a month's time. I'm fishing it today just to make sure that the guy who owns this orchard doesn't mind me fishing here. I also want to just find out what the bottom's like, see if it's got smelly silt or whether it's just it's fishable. You can see got the car up here. It's on a ramp, so I've got the car itself up on ramps. Better than an adjustable bed chair, I guess. Fingers crossed it looks about flat in there. Going down to the water, you can see my rod's down there, 10 yards away. It's a little bit too close to the water. Right. Up there is the point which goes round to the number 3 car park, number 2 car park, and then Seto, which is the gap between Mikata and Swordfish. They come round from under this tree. Put a little bit. Right, let me point at the right things here. So that there is the gap between Suga Lake and Sugetsuko, which is this lake. That over there is the exit, so that's where the water runs out into the sea. So just over in that V, the other side of there is a saltwater lake, and that runs out into the sea itself. And going round, caught some fish up that arm. There's a big old arm that goes around there, and there's a big bay that goes around the back of this, off this point here. Caught some fish there last year. So going around this way, there's just a roadway along the side of the lake there. Bird hut, fished there a few times, didn't catch anything. Going round, right. That there, that first white building, is the boathouse. Now Chris is in there today. And he's going to be there for the remainder of the, well, he's going to be there for the rest of the year, I think. He's just going to keep baiting it up, and at a big one turns up, I think he's got some revenge to get through. Just going around to the left then, you see some stakes in the water there, and then down the left hand side up that way is where Mabo actually fished last year. He had a 104, so he heard about what I was catching and came on, and he had a 104 is a big fish, 35 pounder probably, up there. So today I've got I've got one rod just off there, about 4 metres. It's in about 10 to 12 foot of water. Got one a little bit further out here just to see what the bottom's like and recast that at lunchtime. That's about 15 metres out, right in front here. Both those two are snowmen. I'm sorry, the one in front's just a bottom bait, a 20mm bottom bait. Got two over the right, got one. You can see the structure of it. I'll walk over and show you. See, the water's nice and clear, you can see that. The cafe up there, fingers crossed I'll be able to get my lunch and dinner from there. Right, you see this rope here, can't you? That's basically, goes all the way across there on the surface. Just looks like the pole on the ground, so there'll be stuff that you need to be careful to grate against. And that goes across there. There's some things hanging off it. I guess they're going to be pots. You can see another rope going in that way, and the boat over there. I'm wondering whether they'll be adventurous enough to have a walk down there and see if it's worth baiting near that boat. I don't know whether look at that point. It might be about 15 foot of water, too deep. Stinky silt. So he's looking at the peg from this direction again. Looks like a good peg. I prefer it to be a bit shallower. Boathouse is shallower, but I think all you've got to do is fish on the shelf. I mean, there's a distinct, you can see the angle that those lines are going, or I hope you can. When you get out to 20 metres, it's about 16 foot, and it comes up quite rapidly in a space of about, I don't know, it comes up to 14. There's a very, very distinct shelf from about 14 where it comes up to about 9, and it does that in about the space of 4 metres. Maybe 5 metres length. So it means that you've got a gradual shelf going in here, and at some point, about not far off the line of those poles actually. So probably if you drew a line between those 4 posts and this post, that's where it starts to go off a bit. Then it just goes out again. So I'm looking to fish on that ledge. You go too far down it, and you get them into the stinky stuff. No oxygen water. Too far up, I don't think the fish are going to come right on top of the shelf. Although I will be trying a bit of float fishing to see if I can get one on top of it. Need to hold that because I can't really look. Right, cheers. Right, we're bait. That's got where it comes up on it, that 18 foot. 17. It's interesting, the bottom ain't quite flat, is it? Mm. But it's the bottom's firm though, because 16, 15. Can you just flick up and see show where it is? Right,
I can't see.
You can. Flick down again. Let's look back to the right. It's 14, 13. How short is the shelf? 12. 11. So I reckon now that I must be fishing about 12. That rod that's gone out straight in front.
Probably fishing about 13.
Right, this is where it's going to get interesting now. 11, 10, 9. Eight. That came up quite quick, didn't it, really? 7, 6. We've got 3 rod lengths now. 5, 4, 2 rod lengths.
3. Shot leader. Should we move along a bit? Move that way. Try again.